Whole family gets kicked off of a flight with child while the mother is breastfeeding. The rudeness is insane. Here's the first video.
The fact that we gotta be here in this airport with our daughter overnight for the next 5 hours. Our flight was already delayed 5 hours. It's hard to believe that this happened to us, man. I just hope that we can do something to make sure nobody else is wrongfully kicked off the flight with that 1-year-old daughter, their wife, and their husband.
4 violations took place on January 7th from Fly Frontier. 1, defamation of character. It was a false statement that was made publicly to the higher ups at Fly Frontier, stating that I was disrespectful, that I was disrupting our passengers, and that was a lie.
Did you see me being disrespectful? No.
Did anybody on this flight get disturbed by what happened?
Did anybody get disturbed
Anybody
here?
know what was happening up here? That they kicked us off this plane? Nobody saw anything?
You sitting across from us. Did you see us do anything?
For one, we are both respectable business owners with respectable brands. On top of that, we was raised with respect and to treat others with respect as well.
So the next violation is actually an American right to free speech. I have a right to state my opinion and ask questions without fear of retaliation. And that's definitely is not what occurred on January 7th on the Frontier flight. We stated a question, we stated our opinion, and then we were unjustly removed from a flight because they didn't like the questions we asked and they didn't like our opinions. We were never rude, we were never cursing, we were never standing, we were never yelling.
We have more video. You're looking at Raven and Tony Parker. The airline is Frontier Airline. This is an indisputable exclusive. We do not see any other news agency covering this presently, but I have directly reached out to the CEO of Frontier. More about that in a moment. Here's what happened next.
Another violation, there was no integrity in this workspace. I was breastfeeding my daughter, Isabella, when Jayla Cocker decided to come over, harass my husband, harass us while we're sitting in our seats, giving unreasonable demands, and just had a lack of empathy to see that obviously we are sitting here and we're traveling with a vulnerable baby. Concern soon turned into panic once we realized we didn't have Isabella's car seat, we didn't have her stroller, we didn't have her bag that also not just included solid foods. Once everything is also closed at the airport, being it's 9 o'clock on a Sunday, we also didn't have medication that was in there as well. Also, they didn't care that we was going to be at an airport with a baby who also was not going to be able to sleep.
We don't have a car seat or stroller. They took our stuff on the plane, leaving our baby in danger if we needed to travel. And they didn't care about that when they unjustly kicked us off the plane.
They also spoke directly with staff asking, can you explain why we were removed? And here's the response.
They also gave us fake names. Allison D. Wharf told us that her name was Amy. No integrity.
So what's your name? I have to make a complaint because you're now taking me off after we've already been delayed 5 hours.
I haven't spoken to you.
You spoke to them and now y'all brought us back after we've been late for 5 hours. I have a baby and I need to get names. What's your name? Y'all can't say your name because I know y'all are wrong. Amy.
Furthermore, they were in violation of bolstering transparency of passenger rights. Supervisor Francisco Love did not offer us any explanation as we were unjustly and unethically removed from the flight while my wife was actually breastfeeding our child. He didn't gather any information from the passengers, any persons on the plane. The lady sitting next to us even stood up in our defense, wondering what was going on. He offered no explanation and he just let us be kicked off.
How was we disrupted?
You have to step over here.
How was we disrupted? Can you let us know? Cause y'all didn't.
Did they let you know?
How was we disrupted?
There's a conclusion here that insinuates, obviously, this is not the first time it has happened to a family. Here it is.
We are not the only family to experience this type of unethical, unjust, and even I say racial treatment from Frontier Airlines. There are plenty of examples of other families that have been unjustly kicked off planes or not refunded, changed flights, all types of horror stories.
You came in and we were quiet, minding our business. And then you pulled us over, we don't have a stroller, we have a baby, and you said we got to pay $90 to rebook.
Correct.
Please sign this petition. We're sending it to Barry Biffle, who is also the CEO
and president of Frontier Airlines.
So fight with us. It's not just about us and our experience. It's about everyone who's also been affected by Fly Frontier.
And making sure it never happens again.
Enough is enough.
And they won for now, but we're not going to stop fighting until we get justice for this.
Enough is enough. Raven Parker, the mother, would explain on the Instagram post, quote, on January 7th, 2024. My family and I endured a distressing incident on our flight. The flight attendant subjected my husband, baby, and me to unwarranted antagonism and harassment, leading to our unjust removal from the plane. Our pleas for our luggage were callously ignored, leaving us without food and medicine for our baby. We were left unheard and humiliated as we were kicked off the plane. Eventually, the supervisor, Francisco Love, started to recognize the error and began offering incentives. These actions are inconsistent with someone convinced or convicted of our wrongdoing. This incident, possibly fueled by racial bias, highlights a pressing need for mothers and families to be vigilant against such mistreatment. We are not the only family or individual who's endured unethical practices against them from Fly Frontier. Please stand with us as we fight to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else. In quote, put up the CEO of Frontier Airlines. You're looking at Barry Biffle. Keep Barry's picture up. I've reached out to Barry Biffle on his LinkedIn page directly. I sent him the message personally. I would like an explanation or perhaps what remedy has been done. I want the answer, Barry. Keep his picture up as I remind Barry of what's on his own website for Frontier. We welcome nursing customers who wish to breastfeed on board. Baggage containing a breast pump or breast milk may be brought on board in addition to the standard free personal item. In other words, there's this support and encouragement of mothers breastfeeding. You give allowance when it is necessary, understanding the sensitivity of the moment. The CDC states the medical preparation of a traveler who is breastfeeding differs only slightly from that of other travelers and depends in part on whether the breastfeeding traveler and child will be separated or together during travel. Most travelers should be advised to continue breastfeeding their children throughout travel. From the CDC. Erica Wilson, attorney at law, civil rights attorney extraordinaire from the Fairness Firm, said, and I quote, "It is 2024. And it saddens me that the stigma behind breastfeeding still exists. A mother naturally feeding her child in public or an airplane should never have been made national news. The treatment of this family and the alleged abandonment of their child by Frontier Airlines is inexcusable. Corporations should be held accountable for the conduct of their employees," end quote. I'm asking for more information. Right now, I do not have a direct statement from the CEO, Mr. Biffle. I would like one. If there's an update, please provide it. This is one of those stories that started to develop, and we don't have a lot of information other than the context of those who were victims, allegedly victims. Now, to Jordan, dear brother, there's a humanity that should always come with a policy, period. It's unfortunate we have to create laws to protect people when really, if we just treated them human, no law would be required. But in this case, it seems as if policy, federal law, common sense, and decency should have prevailed, but did not. What say you?
I mean, flying is already a frustrating experience as is. I can't imagine how much more frustrating it must be and how burdensome it is if you are a parent of a 1-year-old. It gets very stressful. You have somewhere to go. You're also trying to deal with a toddler. Like it's just, I can't comprehend that. So I feel on that point immediately feel sympathy with that family. But to kick a family off for breastfeeding, for having a mother breastfeeding is just like totally devoid, like you're saying, totally devoid of humanity, because that's something that has to be done. Like the kid needs to eat. That's how you feed a baby. It's a really bizarre set of circumstances, and I'd be curious to learn more. I really hope this family finds some sort of resolution.